welcome to Killer Coach Academy. Trisha Davis here. I'm going to be taking you through a bomber strength workout for your shoulders. So let's get started. The equipment you're going to need will be, we'll need some various strength TheraBands. So I've got an assortment here depending on how strong you are. One tied into a nice little loop that's about that big. Doesn't have to be that strong. You'll need either a small ball or a face cloth for one of our exercises. And something like this is really helpful. It's a little anchor to put the TheraBand in the door so that the TheraBand lasts longer. So it's just got a little chalk on the inside, and as you open the door you can put that in there and it'll hold it steady. And the other thing you're going to need is a foam roller. And if you want to do the bonus exercise at the end, you'll need an old bar and a string with a weight on it. So I'll show you what to do with that in a little bit. So that's kind of all the equipment. So let's go ahead and get started. The most important thing that you remember is to make sure that we do all of these exercises with good posture. So a plumb line that runs through the center of your ear, shoulder, hips, knees, and ankles. Trying to tuck your chin in and think tall, long spine. We spend so much of the day kind of like this. So let's think tall, long spine, shoulders down and back for all of the exercises. Okay, so we'll start with a dynamic warm-up, which are just some stretches to get the shoulders range of motion kind of lubricated and ready to go. So we'll do a lunge step with an overhead reach. So sink down into the lunge, step back, switch sides, just back and forth, and we'll do 3 of those on each side to get started. Just like that. One more on the right side. Good. Then we'll still keep our feet at hip width apart. We're going to hinge forward and we're going to reach forward overhead, dropping our shoulders down, stretching our tail and our fingertips away from each other. So hinge at the hips, bend forward and lengthen your arms away from your body. We'll do a few more of those just to get limbered up. One more, really stretching your head long, reaching your tail back. Okay, and the last dynamic warm-up stretch is just to find a wall. We're going to put our arms in the stick-up position, and we're going to just stretch our arms overhead as far as you can, and then straight back. Trying to keep your head in contact with the back of the wall as well if you can. So all the way down, shoulders down and back, pushing your forearms and hands into the wall, or door in my case. We'll do one more, stick up, stretch and reach, pressing into the wall, and pulling straight back down. Okay, warm-up is done. Let's get into the exercises. The first exercise is going to be a low row. So I'm going to put my TheraBand inside the door here. We'll put it at about belly button, navel height from the floor. And then all we're going to do is get into that really nice posture. So shoulders down and back, head long, looking straight ahead, reaching through the crown of your head. Keeping your elbows straight, you're just going to pull straight back into a row. Squeeze and hold for 5. Release slowly. And then repeat. So the cues here are to really squeeze your shoulder blades back and together as you hold. So we're going to go for about 10. We're on the 3rd rep here, holding for about a 5 count. Making sure to breathe, reset your posture, building tension as you pull back. And we'll hit a couple more until we're pretty close to 10. Nice and tall through the crown of your head. Squeezing those shoulder blades back, it's lighting up the whole back of the body. Trying to get those triceps, lats, everything kind of pulling down and back. We'll go one more just to make sure we've got all 10 in. And relax. The next row we're going to do is a little bit easier, so I'll step back just a little bit. I'll get my hands pointing down towards the floor, get into my good posture, and this time I'm going to lead with my shoulder blades and then just row straight back towards me, like that. This is a point where you could grab a heavier band if you have one, or you can just really focus on pulling. We'll hold. Let's try to hold this for 5. And release. We'll go for the 4th rep. Breathing as you go, stretching your head long, looking straight ahead, trying to really hold that good posture. Shoulders down your back, elbows behind you and squeezing together. Squeezing and pinching. Hold for 5, really build that tension behind you. Slightly different muscles we're using in this bent armed row, a little bit lower down the shoulder blade. A few of the lats coming in, posterior deltoid. Let's do one more just to make sure. Perfect. Okay. And then the last variation of the row that we'll do now will be a W row. So same ideas, except when we come, and this one's a little bit harder, so stand a little closer, get back to your easier band. We're going to come up into a W and hold. Okay, so this is also working the rotator cuff. Just let the tension off. It'll build really quickly. Working the rotator cuff muscles, keeping the shoulder blades down and back. And we're going to hit 10 of those as well. So once you get the hang of it, just keep on going. I'll turn to face you. This is what it looks like from the front. So you're going to actually get into that W or goalpost position. So let's keep on going. A few more reps. So we've got 10 altogether, squeezing and holding, really making sure you can stagger your stance, making sure that you've got good posture, your head is long, and you're really pulling those shoulder blades into a row position as you squeeze. One more for good luck, and that's the W row. Probably the hardest one of them all. Okay, the next exercise for our shoulders is called a scapular push-up. I'll show you here on the wall first, and then we'll get down on the floor to do it. If you're having any pain, keep it on the wall, keep it a little bit easier. Gradually drop the surface so you go to a bar height, and then you can go right down to the floor. This is what the scapular push-up looks like. You're not actually going to do a regular push-up. You're just going to tighten the core, head long and tall, hands at about shoulder level or right underneath your shoulders if you're on the floor. And then you're just going to keep your elbows straight. You're going to sink into your shoulder blades, pinching them together behind you, and then pushing them away. So taking those shoulder blades through a full range of motion. It's called retraction and then protraction, where you're really rounding and pushing the floor, or in this case, the wall away. So that's the first few reps. We'll do a few more here. You can either do them on your knees or you can do them from your toes. And you're going to go down and up. It's not a big motion. The elbows stay straight. Your head is long, kind of looking straight down at the floor. And you're pinching and pushing. Really good overall core exercise as well. It's really just to get you to feel those shoulder blades moving on your spine. Okay, so that's the scapular push-up. The next exercise is going to be forearm planks. So this is what we'll need our little tied together TheraBand for. That's going to go right around our wrists like this. And then I'll show you on the wall again for this one. You're going to set a timer for about 15 to 30 seconds until you get really good. Start on the wall, same thing. You can go down to a bar level or you can go down to the floor. But you're going to put your arms in front of you on the wall like this, stepping away to make it a little challenging. You're pushing tension on the band, so you're actually pushing your hands away, but try to keep them lined up and together in this way. You don't want them on the wall like that. So a little bit of tension on the ball, or on the band, you're spreading the band apart. You're going to hold that, shoulder blades down and back, and then you're just going to hold that position. So we'll go 15 to 30 seconds in that way. Really keeping the head long, back tucked so you're not hyperextending, and really pushing the forearms into the door, wall, or floor. This is what it looks like down here on the floor. So same position, elbows right directly underneath the shoulders, holding that forearm plank, spreading that band apart. And this one gets quite challenging quite quickly. So set that timer. When the timer beeps, you can hit as many reps as you'd like, or you can go through all of the exercises first and then hit a second set, which is what I would recommend. Okay, the next exercise we've got here, we'll either be using our face cloth or our small ball. And we're working on the shoulder blade stability, or the scapular stability with this one. So I'll show you on the wall here. What you're gonna do is square your hips and shoulders. So arm goes straight out. You're about arm's length away from the wall. You're gonna push the ball into the wall like you're trying to smash it through there. Shoulder blades down and back. And then you're just gonna draw tiny little circles while pushing into the wall. You're gonna go about 10, 15 in one direction. Try not to move the rest of your body, trying to hold everything here nice and stable. And then you're going to go the opposite direction. And then if you don't have the ball, you know, you could just use anything that'll make your hand slide. So you just put that face cloth on the wall, you push it into the wall with your hand, like you're leaning into it, and then you're just going to do little polishers. So you're kind of waxing on, trying to keep everything nice and stable. And then you're going to wax off. You're going to go the opposite direction. Like that. And then you'll hit the other side so you're nice and even. So again, shoulders and hips are square. You're pushing that towel right into the wall. And you're doing small little circles, trying to keep the rest of the body pretty still. And then the opposite direction as well. So really pressing, grinding that towel into the wall. Okay, and then our bonus exercise is if you have a spare bar, what I would do is attach a small weight. I've got just a 2-pounder hanging off the bottom. You can make it as heavy as you'd like. And then grab your bars in your riding position, so out at the ends here. Feet are just a little wider than hip distance. You're going to get a nice athletic stance. It'll be easier with this one if your arms are closer to your body, and it'll be a lot harder if they're away. If they are away, make sure it's not pulling you forward and poking your head forward. We want to have that nice riding position, just a little bit of a hip hinge, shoulders down and back, arms out straight. So kind of a nice riding position. And then all we're going to do simply is just rotate so that we're winding this weight all the way up. So shoulders down and back, head nice and long. We're working on our forearm strength here. So our wrist flexors and our extenders. So we're winding it up, and then we're going to slowly wind it down. Don't just let it fall down. Make sure you're winding it straight down, trying to keep those shoulders down and back. So be sure that you do both directions. So you start towards you, and then you do some away from you as well. So you work on those wrist flexors and extensors, both concentrically, which is shortening the muscle, and then eccentrically, which is lengthening the muscle. Just like that. Now, my arms are already burning. I've only done 2 reps, so you can pick however many reps you'd like to do with that. Feel it in my shoulder blades. Feel it even in my core. Up. Reset your shoulders, nice hinge position, and then nice and slowly on the way down. Working on this one will hopefully help you prevent a lot of that arm pump or fatigue from long descents. So there you go, there's the bonus exercise. So before you get into these stretches, be sure you do a couple of sets of the exercises to make it challenging for yourself. So go through each exercise, go back to the top, go through it again. Maybe do that regime for the next couple of weeks, adding reps and sets as you feel comfortable. Okay, so to finish up our workout, we're going to do some foam rolling stretches near the end. So these are more static stretches, more maintained kind of elongation type stretches. So we're going to lie on the foam roller with our butt at one end, our head at the other, and we're going to do my favorite stretches, the T, Y's, and W's. So we're going to stretch our arms palms up into a T position, trying to keep our back kind of pressed in, our head nice and long on the roller, shoulders down out of our ears. And what I'm doing is stretching my hands away from each other. And I'm just going to sit and breathe and let that stretch get into the front of my chest, the pecs. I'm trying to get the back of my hands down onto the floor. So into a nice T position, and just let that stretch out just for a minute or so. You can also just kind of roll to one side. So I'm rolling to the right now, and it's really stretching down my left arm. And then you can roll to the opposite side and let the opposite arm really stretch out. The Y stretch, we'll take our arms straight up overhead into a Y position, trying to keep the ribs down and the low back down on the roller as we reach our arms overhead. Thumbs are going to press into the floor. And I'm also trying to stretch my arms long towards that door, trying to keep my head nice and flat. You can kind of feel your shoulder blades pinching on the foam roller behind you. This is the same type of stretch. You can just hold it for 30 to 60 seconds and just let everything kind of sink down. If you feel any tension, just try to breathe into that area and let it really relax. And then the same thing is with the W, like we did with the TheraBand. Take the backs of your hands and forearms and try to reach for the floor. That's a really good anterior chest stretch. So front of your body opener, counteracting all that forward flexion that we're doing on the bicycle. So really breathe into this one. Try to keep your low back, your middle back pressed into the roller. Shoulders down out of your ears. You don't want them hiking up like this. You want them down and pressing into the roller. And you're trying to get your forearm and hand to kind of rest comfortably, which is really challenging. So if you want to do one side at a time, you can take the stretch off that opposite side, push that one down, and then just kind of roll away from it. And then be sure that you get the opposite arm where it's touching, and then you can just roll away from it to increase that stretch. I like the 2-for-1. Okay, and then we're going to turn the foam roller sideways, and we're going to get a little thoracic extension, which is really important, letting the spine not be so rounded forward. So we're going to put our hands behind our heads like this, and just start rolling the middle of the upper back all the way. You can put your bottom on the floor and arch yourself over the roll. That feels really nice. And then walk down, maybe one little vertebra, arch down that way. Try to breathe through this one. You can really feel it stretch through your arms, your lats. Really let that one stretch out. You can walk up the spine. You can even cross your arms in front of you and roll out all those muscles that we were using while we were rowing, those rhomboids. You can roll towards one side and the other. And then finish up again with another arm behind the head stretch. Up high like that. Breathing into that stretch, really letting the extension of that thoracic spine come out. All right, another stretch I like to do is to anchor one side of your one arm down on the floor with either a string or a really heavy TheraBand, and then just kind of lean away from it and drop your head to one side. Like that. You really feel this one in the upper traps. Pushing that shoulder down, kind of leaning away from the anchor. And then be sure to do the opposite side as well, where you're standing on that band, leaning away. So this is kind of anchoring that arm down and then bringing that head to the opposite side and letting that upper trap stretch out on that side. That's a great stretch, feels so good. Another way to do that one would be to reach behind your back with that arm. So you're kind of reaching it across and just holding it with your opposite arm. And then you can just lean, pressing this shoulder down and lean away. We're just trying to open up this whole side of the neck, cervical spine area. Breathing into that and really try not to hold too much tension with these stretches. And then we'll do the other side. We grab that left hand behind us, kind of lean, drop this shoulder down, and just the head to the opposite side. So that is the upper trap stretch. The last stretch I have for you, you can do either on a table or the wall. You're just going to kind of grab your hands behind your head like that, drop your elbows into the wall, and walk your body away. Trying to keep those arms. You're kind of pressing your chest towards the wall. Trying to keep your hands as close together as you can. Shoulder blades down your back. Stretching out those upper traps and lats. Again, I like to hold these for about 30 to 60 seconds. Set yourself a timer when you're doing your stretches. It's so much easier. You can just relax and not worry about counting. Thanks for joining me. This is Trish Davis with Killer Coach Academy. Happy training.